Hi, this is Phototech, and I have good news. This is coming directly to you through the power of the internet. I know I'm kind of late on this news story, but before I get into the news story, I will also note that at the end of this news story, I will talk about potential contests and giveaways I'm thinking of doing. Every so often, I get a few people who suggest they're really interesting contests, and I personally have no problem with giving stuff away, but as it stands right now, I basically spend more money on this channel than what I get back from it in money. Uh, there's other things that are far more valuable than money. Every time I see someone comment, or I see a new like on my video, or I see it shared somewhere, it makes me super happy. But on to the news story. The news story. Uh, this rumor is based from an article from last week that a ROM chip maker, Macronix, dropped a hint that Nintendo will be switching back to cartridges or game cards. Macronix is the number one supplier of EEPROM chips for Nintendo, predominantly used in their Nintendo 3DS game cards. And the Nintendo 3DS uses a 75 nanometer process ROM chip, which maxes out at 8 gigabytes. And Micronex has begun testing out a 32 nanometer ROM chips, which I worked out should be 16 to 24 gigabyte capacity. I mean, these things are like tiny, tiny, tiny ass things. And so, a Nintendo 3DS game card is like 8 gigabytes to 10, and a cartridge could be terabytes. So, using this technology. So it's easy enough as is. I got another news story coming up about another company developing an SD card that has a micro SD card with a super high capacity. But the whole article basically hinges around a few little blurbs in a report, various financial reports, that they are expecting a uptick in their ROM chip sales, and they pretty much do most of their business with Nintendo. So there. And most of the articles basically say Nintendo's abandoning CD and going back to cartridge. Now, first and foremost, let's make this really clear. Nintendo never abandoned cartridges or game cards. In fact, through the GameCube and the Wii era, there has been various interviews with Shigeru Miyamoto that indicate and even explicitly state that the leadership at Nintendo, generally believe that cartridges are superior to disc-based media. And I could find the article in one of my Nintendo Powers. I will do that at some point someday. I might reference the page at the bottom of the in the description box in the future. And I must say, first and foremost, cartridge technology that's used in cartridges is at the point where it could exceed a Blu-ray effortlessly in storage capacity, and it could offer vastly superior features than a Blu-ray could ever do, no doubt about it. The only little hiccup to a cartridge is it is slightly more expensive. It's a little more expensive to produce a cartridge than it takes to produce a disc. And Nintendo never really abandoned cartridges or game cards. They always believed in them. It was just simply them waiting for the time when cartridge technology has passed up disk technology in capacity. And it is just that simple. And I personally believe if Nintendo wants to do cartridges or game cards with the Nintendo NX, Nintendo probably would have done that with the Wii and the Wii U if they wanted to do that. But at that point in time, uh, they most likely simply did not do it because third-party companies didn't want it, and cartridge technology to achieve the same capacity of storage was much more expensive. Cartridge technology technology that is used in cartridges has come down by so much now that the price difference is not that big of a deal. Now, on to another thing. The really cool thing about cartridges, very important detail, is that cartridges plug directly into the system. And I watched the video by Super Metal Dave, and he tried to explain his feelings on how cartridges are superior to discs. The only thing that discs had as an advantage over cartridges was A, they're cheap to make, and B, you could store a lot of information on them for that price point. Now, cartridge technology, the EPROMs, is to the point where Nintendo could easily make a small cartridge about the size of a Game Boy cartridge, and it could store more data than 8 Blu-rays. So that one advantage of disc media has been blown completely out of the water, and the only thing that's left is basically price. Now, the advantages of cartridge, I will get into that now. First and foremost, cartridge technology, when plugged into the system, becomes a part of the system. Now, the difference between a CD and a cartridge is when the CD is playing in the system, there's a laser that points at a particular point, and the disc spins, and the laser reads the information in a line at the particular speed in which the disc can spin and the laser can move back and forth. And that is a single point of access. A cartridge has the capacity for multiple point of access. The cartridge slots into the system, and the system is capable of reading 2 different points, or 4 different points, or 6 different points, or anywhere in between, or greater, depending on how it's worked out. So the cartridge always has the superior advantage in read speed. Alright. Another positive advantage is the cartridge technology also takes up less energy. Simple as that. There's no moving parts. There's fewer things to break down. You don't have little belts or gears that wear out in the system. Dust is less of an issue as long as you keep the cartridge slot clean, or keep the general area clean. And another advantage of a cartridge is when a cartridge is inserted into the system, the cartridge itself is essentially then a part of the system. Many old NES, Super NES, and some N64 games have built-in processing chips that add processing power to the system. Very good example, give me a second, and I have to point this out, is this original Super Mario Brothers. And by the way, this is the original version, and this is the double pack, and I also have the triple pack as well. But this original Super Mario Brothers uses nearly all the processing capability of the NES. Now, how do you, pray tell, is it possible that this game, which essentially maxes out the NES's capabilities, could be improved upon? It's essentially a launch title. And then you have games like this, which are clearly graphically superior than Super Mario Brothers. And you have games like this, which have a deeper range of sound. By the way, there's a special chip in this game that adds extra audio tracks to the system. The NES only has 4 audio tracks, and various Konami cartridges and Capcom cartridges have extra sound or audio processing chips that enable the system to have more audio tracks than it was naturally built with. And that is another advantage of a cartridge. A cartridge can contain upgrades to a system. It could have a built-in GPU. It could have built-in audio processing chips that add features that were not originally built into the system to the game, and first and foremost. So in other words, a cartridge system has the ability to be upgraded through the software itself into the hardware. The hardware can be improved by the cartridge that's being added to the system. There could be RAM built into the cartridge. There can be an extra CPU built into the cartridge. There can be an extra GPU built into a cartridge. Audio processing chip built in the cartridge. Extra controller ports. There are examples of cartridges that have extra controllers. In fact, that was a very common way for many Sega Genesis games to add a third player, fourth player option, was to have the two plugs for player 1 and 2 in the system, and the 2 extra in the cartridge. So there. So in other words, cartridges have the ability to A, become a part of the system, B, grant the system all of the data at any point in multiple locations simultaneously to the system. They upload faster. The system is capable of taking that information quicker, and the cartridges add whatever extra abilities that are built into the cartridge into the system. And if anything, if there's any company that would go back to cartridges, and Nintendo truly never left cartridges, they always believed in cartridges, it would be Nintendo. And I basically gave it away already. Now, if Nintendo thinks that cartridges are viable, they will do it. And truly, if Nintendo is basically the only company making games for their system, which is basically what happened with the Wii U, Nintendo could easily say, you know what, since we're the only company basically releasing games for our own systems, screw it, do cartridges. Because that was basically the only real reason why Nintendo went to discs was because of third-party companies. Now, I'm done with the story. Please punch the information, your thoughts into the comments below. And I'm on to my second thing. First and foremost, every so often, I get people who ask for Nintendo 3DS giveaways, Wii U giveaways, stuff like that, accessories. I personally have no problem with giving stuff away. As I said before, I have no problem with it, but I put more money into the channel than I get back, and I have no problem putting more money into the channel than I get back, because there is value in sharing my thoughts and information I've dug up and talking with people all over the place. And I'm always excited to see a comment in the comment section below. I'm always excited to see my videos shared or linked out to other stuff, other sites. Nothing is more fun for me to roam through the internet and just happen to find someone who put a link to my video in a forum section. That is just awesome. Now, as for the contests, I really can't afford to give away anything really expensive on a regular basis, and I really hate to leave people out. If I'm going to do contests or giveaways, I want to be able to do them on a fairly regular basis and have it so that people could participate week in and week out, and the likelihood of them winning something is super good. I don't want someone to repeatedly show up hoping, well, I hope just for the fact that we're hanging out and talking and showing each other cool things here and there. That'd be absolutely awesome. But for the cases where people who are actually showing up and who actually decide they want to win something, and not to win something week after week after week after week after week, sometimes it could be aggravating. There's a lot of times when I have tried to enter an amiibo contest. For the one I remember was a Mega Man amiibo. I really wanted Mega Man. I grew up on Mega Man. I freaking love Mega Man. I love Mega Man 2. I love Mega Man 3. I have the Mega Man collections. I played the crap through them. I've beaten all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Mega Man. I've beaten Mega Man X, X2, X3, X4. I've beaten Mega Man 0, Mega Man 02, Mega Man 03. I towards the end section of Mega Man Mega Man 04, but I think I kind of got distracted and went off and did some other stuff. I played the Mega Man Battle Network games. I collect Mega Man goodies. There's dust on it, but I collect Mega Man stuff. I simply love Mega Man. It was one of my favorite franchises. Capcom is one of my pillar companies that I grew up playing their games, and that's awesome. But back onto the contest thing. Now, I have had a person recently suggest they are interested in a Nintendo 3DS giveaway. At this current time, I have not entirely written up all the rules and potential setups for such a giveaway, and I want it all to be as clear as possible for everyone. So when I decide I want to give away Nintendo 3DSs and Wii U's and Nintendo NXs and stuff like that, it is all clear and it's all good. And I want to come up with something really interesting to determine who is going to win what. I was thinking of like cards, write down the person's screen name on a card under some basic rule set that if they did X or Y or shared enough of my videos across shared a high number of my videos or commented in a lot of my videos or something like that, that I would probably write their name down and put it on in a ring and put a kitten in the center, and wherever that kitten walks off over for the card, that's the person that would win it. And I was thinking along that line. Now, that would be cool, right? I do have kittens. I have cats. If you were to go over my Jason Shatner channel, you can find kitten videos and cat videos, and a doggy video and a horse video and this and that. But in the meantime, before I hammer out all that stuff, I am going to potentially do this in the coming few months, in the coming week or coming months. I will potentially start giving away Nintendo codes for Nintendo Nintendo eShop codes. I'm thinking in $10 quantities. That will enable, if I were to give away $10 quantities of eShop cards, that would be something I could easily do weekly, and I could do multiple things. So, like, the most active watcher for the week, let's say, the 5 most active watchers for a week will get an eShop code for $10. But I've also considered the possibility, this one is already used, by the way, but I've also considered the possibility of just taking the code and putting it in a description in a video somewhere. It's sort of a scavenger hunt, if you will. I will just take one of my videos on my this Wolfotech Gaming News channel, and I will put a code, an eShop code, in it at some point for $10. And I might do one that's 15 or 20 every so often, just for that extra excitement. And at some point, you may go back, watch an old video, and find a eShop code in the description box. How do you think about that? So first and foremost, there's a potential of me giving away video games, consoles, in the future. I just have to work out all the rules, get everything all written out perfectly fine, ways to get the items to the person very quickly and easily, and alright. And then there's also the eShop thing, which I may just simply give out eShop codes each week, and I may also hide eShop codes in my old videos every so often as a scavenger hunting. So if you are interested in any of that stuff, please put your thoughts into the description box below. As I said, I basically spend more money on the channel than I get out of it. I have no problem with that. The problem is if I buy a ton of things to give away, and I don't have enough money to fix my truck when I need to fix it, or pay for the internet, it's kind of like going backwards. But it's just how it is. I basically have to budget it out. So, just so you know, there will be an unboxing soon of a video game system. I got another one, and there will be a few more stories coming up. Say later today, which by the time this video is done uploading, it will be a Monday. Thank you very much for watching. As I said, please comment, vote, share, add to playlist, and consider subscribing if you have not subscribed to my channel already. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.